Warriors farewell after the dust has settled after another departure of another team in MLR. We bring on former Utah Warriors front rower Emerson Prior onto the show to talk a little bit about the situation, give us insight to all that went down in this hectic offseason, plus talk a little bit about the future of the league and much more. The Fantasy Ruckers Show starts right now.
This is Emerson Prior of the Utah Warriors, and you're listening to the Fantasy Ruckers Show,
where rugby and the world of fantasy sports collide. Welcome to the Fantasy Ruckers Show, bringing fantasy rugby to the masses, talking all things rugby from the MLR to leagues around the world. We're on top of it. Headphones on, pads off. This is the Fantasy Ruckers Show. Now, here are your hosts, Ryan Yee, Matt Yee, and Devin Vanderpool.
What's up, everybody? This is episode 173 of the Fantasy Ruckers Show. Thank you so much to our Fantasy Ruckers League members, our community members, and everyone else tagging along on this journey of making fantasy rugby a reality in MLR with you each and every single week. Matt Yee, I am Ryan Yee. Devin Vanderpool is apparently taking his kid to some triple
Be the next Wayne Gretzky
action. Yeah, the next Wayne Gretzky, I guess.
But they're making, he's going to be the next Wayne Gretzky.
There you go.
And he's training him hard.
So it is Matt Yee and myself holding down the fort here on a special episode.
Yeah, it's a real shame that he couldn't be here.
I know.
For the episode that we are, Emerson is going to speak to him, to the fans directly.
Yeah.
And
a Warriors farewell, we will call it, where we bring on front rower, or I should say former front rower, Emerson Prior, to talk about everything that went on this offseason that led then to the demise of Utah Warriors rugby. Pretty crazy conversation. So that'll be coming up in just a bit. Again, adding to the list of players that we've had on this show that have become victim to teams that have withdrawn from this league. We've brought on Callum Botcher. We brought on Seth Smith. Emerson Prior now coming on the show to chat a little bit about it. Again, you can get all those episodes, take a look back. But again, it's just a continuation of what has been a crazy league. Now, albeit the league has told us 2026 and beyond, we are ready to go. 6 teams are going to be good to go now that Utah has departed. But nonetheless, going to get insight here in just a bit from Emerson Prior on all that went down and his perspective on the situation and a lot more. Canadian rugby, international rugby, all that good stuff here coming up in just a bit. But Maddie, great Thanksgiving. Hopefully all of our viewers and listeners had a good American Thanksgiving, enjoying the great time with family, friends, all that good stuff. We are thankful for you for supporting us here on the Fantasy Ruckers Show. Matt, your Thanksgiving was pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got together. We had a nice little ham because ham's better than turkey. And
I agree.
And yeah, no complaints, just a lot of thankfulness, a lot of gratitude, a lot of appreciativeness, and a lot of I don't have another word.
Thankfulness and appreciativeness.
And gratefulness. I said gratefulness.
And gratefulness. You did say that. All right. The trio of Thanksgiving feelings, I guess, for Matt Yee here.
Sure is.
Last weekend. But again, just want to say again and take the moment. I know we are a couple of days removed with our off-season schedule of every other week episodes, but hey, thank you again to all of our viewers, listeners, and supporters on the Fantasy Ruckers Show and our mission of trying to make fantasy rugby a reality in MLR. With that being said, we do have a lot to get to, a busy episode on this one. If you aren't already, follow us at the Fantasy Ruckers. Like, subscribe, hit that button down below. Link in the description to join the Discord. Plus, you can check out the fantasyruckers.com, the official platform for fantasy rugby of fantasy MLR, I should say, here on the Fantasy Ruckers Show. With that being said, got to get to it. There's a lot to go over.
News dump.
All right, TFR episode 173 news dump. Maddie, where do you want to begin? Because there is a lot over the course of the past couple weeks that we need to catch up on.
I feel like, we'd be pretty remiss if we didn't start with probably the biggest one of the entire, pretty much the entire offseason. It's going to be the biggest signing. It must be.
Why don't you tell me that?
Well, I was going to say Joel Hodgson to the New England Free Jacks. I feel like that's by far the biggest thing to happen over this time.
But you can argue that there are a handful that you could probably crown that. So let me go through the list here.
Joel Hodgson to the reigning champions. That sounds pretty.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, but there are some other spicy ones here. Let me go through the list, and then Maddie, you can pick out the ones that stood out to you. All right, we're gonna start off with the signings that happened about a week or so ago. A handful of re-signings here. Connor Mooneyham rejoining Anthem. DeWalt Kotza back with the Seattle Seawolves. Jason Robertson back with Old Glory DC. Ben Lesage, Pierce Von Dadelson, Kyle Sakara, Joe Johnson, Caleb Geiger, all back with the Free Jacks. Now there are some additions here. Nate Sylvia, Cyril Kama, both going from the San Diego Legion, or what was the San Diego Legion, to the New England Free Jacks. Ethan McVie going from Old Glory DC to the New England Free Jacks, which may fill a void here that we are going to talk about in just a bit when it comes to this Free Jacks team that I think is going to look a whole lot different than that championship winning side that has gone back to back to back. But the one that I think might compete with possibly that Joel Hodgson signing is the signing of Davey Kotzer from the Houston SaberCats to the Seattle Seawolves as well. And then Malcolm May goes from the NOLA Gold to the Chicago Hounds. Now, let me wrap up with what happened last week. We got the resignings of Wayne Vanderbank to Vita Sol, and Killian Coughlin back with the Free Jacks. Junior Goffa, Alejandro Martinez Tapia, EJ Freeman, all re-signing with the Anthem. You can add Pierre Humphreys and Damian Hoyland onto that list as well as re-signing with Old Glory DC. Now, some new faces in new places. Johan Mumsen, not a U.S. player, but nonetheless going from the SaberCats to the Anthem. Marno Renalingus, SaberCats, the Seawolves. Then you got Caron Van Vuren, who is departing the Seawolves there. But then a big one, a familiar face that you usually see in a different red, white, and blue, Jama Fa'anana Schultz, going from DC to New England. And then you can add Theo Flurry in there as well. Super Rugby vet, Queensland Reds most recently, going to the Chicago Hounds. So take a deep breath. That's a lot of signings. I should add as context as well, as Matthew breaks this down, announcement that Jason Putros not returning with the Free Jacks. John Poland not returning to the Free Jacks either as well. A couple others, Julian Robertson from the NOLA Gold to the Anthem, Patty Ryan from the Legion to Seawolves, and I believe that wraps up about everything that I had up to date. Maddie, what stands out to you, you say?
Yeah, I mean, a couple things. Like one, Davey Kutzer, obviously that's huge. Does that tell us something about Devon Rousseau? Does that tell us something about Duncan Matthews? I mean, or does that, obviously we saw AJ Alatimu. Well, I guess AJ Alatimu was on SaberCats. Don't mind that. But I guess maybe is there something going on with Rodney Iona as well? Like, I think with these big moves, it comes to question of who are they replacing, similar to the Joel Hodgson news of, I think some of the diehard New England Free Jacks fans kind of knew that Potros wasn't coming back. So to see him being replaced with Joel Hodgson is going to be, they're going to be ecstatic about that. That's like basically 1A and 1B, whichever way you want to put it. And Davey Kutzer, I mean, on his side, like if they lose Devon Rousseau, you're going to be pretty happy to replace that with a Davey Kutzer type player. I will add, Ryan, another transfer that happened today. Looks like Julian Roberts from the NOLA Gold last season is signing with the Anthem. Yep. So the Anthem continues to bulk up their side. I think the other one that you kind of got to look into, I guess Gemma Fanana Schultz, like the back row room, they lose Ethan Fryer, they lose Jed Melvin, they fill it with Gemma Fanana, Banana Schultz. A little bit of a step down, but I would say that is a pretty good signing for them, a high quality talent. The other one that we should look at is Joel Forey that you brought up. Theo Forey. Was thinking about Hodgson. Was thinking about Joel Hodgson. Is just that it's a young Aussie guy coming from Super Rugby, coming from the Reds, obviously here to play for an opportunity, or else he wouldn't be kind of leaving the professional side there. So he's obviously coming for an opportunity to play. Going to the Hounds, what does that mean for Dylan Fawcett? Mm-hmm. I think the question's got to be up there in the air of what that means for the Butcher moving forward in next season. Okay, and it's possible the Anthem may be one of them. I don't have any inside source. I'm just I'm just thinking in my head. You're seeing these older guys signing for the anthem.
It's true.
It's not
It's
just
true.
young talent that they're picking up. Like you see American eligible guys, see non-American eligible guys. It's clear that they see some value in having. Well, I guess they see value in getting one win. That's what they see value in.
Yeah. I do want to just add as well, Nate Oxberger, a guy that has been a staple in fantasy MLR, has announced his retirement. So that's a big one. Didn't really have a great fantasy impact last season, but there were worse seasons, aka the one that Matthew won, his
AKA
fantasy
the
Ruckers
wild
championship.
the season of just absolute bliss.
Yes. Yes, when he was 9 eligible and was giving you back 3 numbers.
Scoring
Pretty insane.
5 tries.
And then Harley Wheeler also from NOLA Gold to Aurora DC. Maddie, to wrap up the signings, though, if you had to rank your top 3 so far this offseason, actually, let's make it a top 5 so far this offseason, what would you say? And I'll even open it up to the ones that have happened before. So you can throw in Max Schumacher, Santiago Videla, Tavit Lopetti, like some of those.
I'm just gonna stay. I'm gonna stay with the recent ones. I think some big ones have happened enough. So, I mean, the 3 in no order are the Kutzer, the Joel Hodgson, and then I'm gonna put Johan Mumson to the anthem. I'm gonna put those 3 at the top, and I'm gonna put Joel Hodgson at the top. David Kutzer second, and Johan Mumson to the anthem. I think Mumson is going to make a huge impact for that side. It'll be. I mean, really
that engine room is starting to look pretty
Mumson,
nice. I mean,
Gala.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. That second row.
Are you thinking the anthem might make a turnaround here this upcoming year?
I'll believe it when I see.
Higher than 6 finish, their best ever.
I don't think so.
Yeah. If I had to put it up there, I think. I'm going to actually rank mine.
I did put mine in a rank.
I'm going to put Joel Hodgson number 1. I think I'm going to put Santiago Videla number 2. Davy Kotzer number 3. Tavit Lopetti 4.
You got 5.
Tavit Lopetti 4. I need one more to round it out.
No, you said 3, so you already surpassed it.
Jamison 5, Nana Schultz. I said 5. But either way.
To me, you said 3.
I said, let's make it 5. But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
You just want to show people that you overachieve.
I'm always.
Supreme.
That's what we're all about here. I am the Supreme Commissioner. That is right. So again, the Flurry offseason moves. We got moves that are happening. This was why last episode 2 weeks ago was called just like the emotional roller coaster, because we go from these teams, and we're going to get into with Emerson, where we talk about the departures and things like that. And then there's things to be excited about, like Theo Flurry coming in, like it adds a new dynamic. What is Davy Kutzer going to look like in a Seawolves uniform? Like that's exciting. Like these are things that are going to be fun to see coming up in 2026, albeit with a handful less teams. So we shall see. Now there
you want to know what continues to evade any of the transfer news?
What?
And who we see. Oh, also Ryan, did you get the Patty Ryan?
Yes,
Ryan?
I did say Patty Ryan.
You did say Patty Ryan.
Yep.
So, I mean, we're starting to see a lot of guys leave San Diego. Like a lot of San Diego. We saw Patty Ryan. We saw Tavit Lopetti. Like these guys are just leaving San Diego. And we haven't heard a single signing or anything from this California Legion side. And I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what's happening. I don't know who they have, who's on their team. What is there? Are they even a team? All I know is that they're playing possibly the worst logistics season to garner interest of all time.
I did forgot to mention Seth Smith returning to Anthem. That's a big one. I should have mentioned that. That also bolsters that team a lot as well. But to add to though that California Legion sentiment here, I want to bring this piece of news up as we move off the roster moves. Is it does look like through their social member pack that the California Legion kind of leaked out where they were going to be playing. So they're going to be facing Anthem Rugby in the OC. In Orange County. They're going to face the New England Free Jacks in San Diego, the Seawolves in Los Angeles, with 2 other home games taking place in Northern California. So we're talking about literally the entire state, right? Like California is a big place, and the distance from San Diego to Northern California is a big one. And the idea that the California Legion is going to grow rugby here in that area, I'm not too sure if I'm all aboard this train of having this spread out. Like, I don't know how you're gonna get people to come and invest in this team from a fan perspective when you may only have a chance to see a game once.
Yeah,
through the
200 people
entire
from
year.
each city. That's what they're aiming for. That's what they're gonna do.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I don't understand. I think Jamzele had a
It
good
makes
point
me
on
feel
this,
like
and just
and this is all speculation, but it makes me feel like
we're gonna have 5 teams at the start of next year.
don't no the league has never strayed away from me, and they said that 6 teams, 2026 and beyond. Right?
Guys,
Crickets.
all 20 tickets in each stadium that they're gonna sell.
It does make me feel like the whole, because that they were the only, like, California Legion was the only initiative where we got like the full press release about growing the game in California and all this stuff. It makes me feel like it's almost a facade. Like what are we
They
trying
can't
to do
even
here?
sign a player. Of course, it's a facade.
Do we think that this is the strategy that's going to work? I don't know. I find it hard to believe, but nonetheless, that is
Marketing
the
wise,
news.
no, but rugby wise, they need players to play, and they clearly don't have any players that they are willing to announce. So they can post all these social club. Does social club also get you announcements to the players? Probably not, but yeah, maybe they could just announce players like the rest of the MLR.
Yes. Okay. Last, before we get to this Emerson Prior interview, there was a really good article that was posted on the National Mall. A great content site, working on Thanksgiving again as well with that. But through there, we find out that Nick Benson, I guess commissioner, or now former commissioner of MLR, is now moving on, and they are now in search of a new leader to take this league forward. I know that there will be a mixed bag of reaction to this in terms of how this is going to affect the future of the league. I don't really want to get into that speculation and our opinions on that, but we just know that there will be new leadership moving forward, which may be something that is needed at a time to kind of put this league in a new direction. But also kind of weird that it's happening at a time where you probably want to have this sorted out as you're going through all of this turmoil.
I mean, makes you think that you probably aren't too happy with the turmoil that's going on. And Nick Benson seems like in his short tenure, he hasn't been able to keep the league whole. So yeah, it's tough. I mean, tough look, but I know he did great for Utah in his time there. He served the league well, and we'll have to find new and better things, and hopefully the new CEO comes with more success.
Go check out that article on the National Mall by Martin Pengelly. Good stuff there. But again, we will see moving forward how the direction changes here for MLR. All right. With that being said, though, let's not waste any more time. Let's bring on Emerson Prior of the former Utah Warriors, front rower, Canadian international, to talk a little bit about his experience finding out about the withdrawal of the Warriors squad and what he has to say to fans of Warriors Nation, plus a little bit of insight into all that is going on this crazy offseason, both MLR related and international rugby. And we are pleased to be joined with the man you've all been waiting for. Those have been listening after we dropped all the latest news and crazy things that have happening. This guy somehow got himself intertwined in all of it. In the latest, I guess we had the exodus of this team heading into the 2024 or 2025 season, Maddie. I guess now it's the exodus of the league when it comes to this teams. And front rower Emerson Prior is joining us now. Emerson, great to be joined with you once again. What is the second time here, guest of the show?
Second time, man. Keep coming back. I love it.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks
We love to hear it. Well, doing well. How's everything with you, man? I know there's obviously the big question that a lot of people probably want to have answered, but we'll start with the lighter stuff here. You doing good?
Yeah, doing well. Doing well. Just got off November tour and chilling with my girlfriend back in Salt Lake. So life's pretty good at the moment. Just relaxing, recovering. Yeah, all good.
There you go. We were just talking off air here. You're looking pretty tan for
Ah,
a fella from
I don't know.
Northern Ontario, huh?
Yeah, catching some rays.
There you go. Portugal treated you nice, it sounds like. We'll
Yeah.
obviously get into that with the latest in the Rugby Canada ongoings here. But I think, Emerson, there's no time to waste here. We got to ask the pressing question. I think what, Maddie, we were saying that this is the fourth, I guess, victim that we are bringing onto the show here to continue to get insight into what has been a crazy offseason in Major League Rugby, where it feels like team after team seems to be disappearing from this league, and we are left with 6 heading into the 2026 year, which as of right now is confirmed, and we are good to go. Green lights are on. But Emerson, your team that you have played for all your career, the Utah Warriors, a team that I think has become a fan favorite to many. I know here on the Fantasy Ruckers show, our in-house rugby, I guess, student over the
Expert.
course of the past years has learned this beautiful game through your team, Devin Vandy Vanderpool. He embraced the Warriors, he embraced the colors, and now he's left teamless. And you're also left teamless, of course.
That's right.
Man, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I feel like I asked the same question for every player, but like, what the heck has happened, man?
Yeah, great question. Great question, Ryan. It was a crazy chain of events, bit of an emotional roller coaster during the off season. So there was whispers, I want to say maybe July, August, that the Canadians were going to become international, and that kind of got out to the boys, and that got shut down straight away. So a couple guys had asked, "Oh, is this going to be a thing?" And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely not. Canadians are safe. You're going to be domestic." So that was their first kind of dip in the roller coaster. Then next was kind of word out that, well, all the other teams started folding. So we're like, are we even going to have a league? So no one really knows what's going to go on. Or okay, well now we're down to 8 teams, 7 teams. Or can this even go on? Then there's another dip in the roller coaster, or up and down, and then we hear word that Utah is looking, their original ownership group that's been with the team forever is looking to part ways, which I understand. I mean, if you're owning a team in the MLR over the past 8 years, you're spending a
Yeah.
fair bit of coin. So I think they're looking to part ways. So we were kind of in this limbo. Everything was kind of just rumors. Like there was no clear, concise comms. And I mean, I get that as well because everything changes so fast that you're not gonna, if you're up top, you're not gonna be telling guys one thing and then having it change the next day. So it was just kind of rumors you're hearing from these guys and coaches and staff and whatever. So yeah, and then we were told, okay, so we're looking for investors. We're looking for investors. We might have some. We might have some. Then we were told we found them and we're locked in, which is good. Happy days. Then we were told the Canadians are definitely international and they're going down to 7 international roster spots. So a lot of us, I mean, I think there was, I mean, you guys would know the numbers probably, but there was 50 some odd guys in the
Yeah.
league, and then I think there was maybe only 8 or 9 guys that were keeping their jobs for the 2026 season. So with the team folding, actually, I had a bit of a buffer time, a bit of time to process because I was told that I unfortunately wasn't coming back. Just with the international spots, like the year before, they signed Eki Suele, who's like world class loose head international player. So you're not going to have 2 international loose heads. Just doesn't, the math doesn't math. So I was like, yeah, pretty gutted. Obviously, didn't really see that was how my time at Utah was going to wrap up, and neither did the coaches. And I understand the decision. Just sucks from the league, I suppose. Yeah. So then there's the other. So we're told, okay, we're locked in, but now I don't have a job. I'm like, okay, shit. So then we're on tour in November, and yeah, I wake up pretty early the one morning, and yeah, just a bunch of texts flying through. The Warriors have folded. One Canadian legend, Seb Pearson, the S&C coach, had texted me. He said, "Looks like we're all looking for jobs next year, pal." And I was like, "I guess so, man." So unfortunately, yeah, there were some guys on tour that were signed for the next year, so it's tough for them to wake up to that news. I mean, like I said, so gutted for all the other guys who were going to be signed and some of the coaches, like my good friend Robbie Abel, and was supposed to step up and be the head coach. Now he's out of a gig looking for work. and like the list goes on. The other two coaches, Jimmy and B, were absolute legends of dudes and such good young coaches. And I know they'll all land on their feet, but it was tough for sure. So although I had a bit of time to process and it didn't really affect me because I wasn't coming back, it was still super upsetting and sad. And just in general, like I mean, anything if a prop had gone down and they needed me to come in, I still had my visa, so like the door wasn't fully shut. It was more just like pretty certain that I wasn't gonna come back. So yeah, what a roller coaster, man. Brutal
It
time
sounds
to
like it.
be a Canadian rugby player or a Utah Warrior or a Utah Warriors fan. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
pretty
think
gutted.
I think to your point, like the people, of course, like the people that you knew personally, but from a fan perspective, Utah was one of those sides that were like, you almost loved watching them, whether it was
Mhm.
just for the way that you guys played or whether it was just to see the mountains in the background and just be able to see kind of the scenery of what Utah was. Like, it'll be something that I think will be incredibly missed in the league next year because now we have to deal with the backdrop of New England, and
Yeah.
that's pretty pretty awful.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
Throwing shade, throwing
but
shade.
like I guess maybe for when you're walking through that, like what were so July you find out or you hear inklings that international or Canadians are going to end up being international spots, and then like when was it that you started hearing that the original investor pulled out? When was that around?
Well, I could be a little foggy on the timelines. I had maybe even I had heard that before rumors that the original
Okay,
investor was looking to find new investors and have someone
yeah.
take over. But I didn't know if that meant like if he doesn't find them, he's taking over for another year still, or what that looked like. So it was kind of throughout that, yeah, maybe after season, end of June, all the way through to kind of August, and then I believe I want to say end of August or maybe end of September we kind of heard like, yeah, okay, we found investors, so we should be
Mm,
sweet. And then I guess they pulled out pretty last minute. So I mean, would have been a couple days before Utah announced it, and then they were told, yeah, no good.
yeah, I'm trying to think from September to November how many teams were left to pull out. I mean, I
Yeah,
I
guess
think it
we
was
gotta
just
we gotta pull
it
up
was
a
just Houston,
timeline,
right? It
man.
must have been Houston
Yeah,
at that point was the one that pulled out in between
hmm
then.
yeah,
I think
maybe.
so. I think so. Um, yeah,
Crazy.
it's just it's nutty, kind of looking back in terms of how. Um, I don't think off seasons are supposed to be this hectic when it comes to
No.
sports leagues. So, yeah, the fact that we're scratching our head trying to piece together the puzzle that is this timeline of the 2025 off season, I think just reflects how crazy it has been. But, um, Emerson, you've been in this league for a long time, right? Obviously drafted with the Warriors, coming up through there and seeing this, I should say, seeing the ebbs and flows of this league, right? And you're there for when the Iron Workers disbanded, the addition of Miami, things like that. So there's been growth and shrinkage throughout the time that you've been here, right? So and you're well connected throughout the league in terms of guys, other Canadian guys around the league or on other teams. Provide us some perspective. It just seems like the way you explain the timeline on how fast things move, and not only how fast, but how unpredictable things come. Like you're told one thing, and then the complete opposite happens. Among you players and the conversations that you have with the guys that you know, like how much of that is like you guys got to constantly feel like you're on your toes to make sure that you're like ready for if something happens? Like, is there ever an opportunity where you guys are fully comfortable and can just focus on playing the game, or is there always something kind of lurking at the behind of the back of your mind that like, this is a great thing, but I don't know if I can get too comfortable here in the long run?
Yeah. No, I love that. It's a good question. I think the year before I was going into league, obviously just like kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to rip in. I don't think there was any changes. Maybe just Dallas was in and then they pulled out. They deferred 1 year or something like that. So I was pretty like I think at that time the league was pretty strong. There might have been 13, 14 teams. Not a lot of dropping and swapping, just the Dallas right before. Um, and I was pretty confident, like, okay, this things are looking good. But then after that off season, I can't remember. It's all a blur on who left when. But
Hmm.
once New York, um, Arrows,
Toronto. Yeah.
Dallas, whatever, started dropping in and out. Uh, Yeah, it definitely just kind of like broke the ground a little bit, made it a little shakier. You're just kind of like, okay, well, we're all maybe on borrowed time here. Like, I think we just got to kind of play as much as we can and enjoy it while we can and keep trying to build as Canadian rugby players and play professionally and be grateful for that time. But yeah, it definitely there was definitely cracks in the foundation in terms of like how you felt. Um, However, personally with Utah, just because of the fan base we had, the fact that we were one of the original teams in the league, I was never too worried about us.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, but then I mean, if you look at someone like my buddy Nick Ben, absolute legend, great roommate, great dude, better rugby player, and he went to the Arrows 1 year, they folded. He then went to Dallas 1 year, they folded. Then he went to Utah 1 year, they folded. So like he would have been every offseason, on
Wow.
one WhatsApp in the chat. Yeah, you guys are done. Okay, I guess we're moving on to the next. So
Yeah.
I think for me, I never felt too shaky, but obviously just that little underlying like, okay, well, this could all go kind of end up at any moment. And then I think for other players too, like they're probably a bit more,
I
yeah, a
think
bit more
that's why.
uncertain.
Yeah, I think that feeling there is like why when Ryan, I don't remember when the rumors started coming up about Utah,
Mm.
but like I remember there were rumors coming up and basically people were questioning. I was like, no, I don't see it. Like Utah, we haven't heard anything from them. They're usually good communicative. They're a pretty solid. They got a solid fan base. They got a solid foundation. I was like, oh, they're gonna be fine. And then the
Yeah.
news comes out and it's like, what the heck is happening? Like that's even though it was rumored, it was still such a shock. I guess from your perspective, like when did you actually start feeling the doubt from your side of things? Like when were
Oh,
you actually starting to? I know you like I don't know when you got kicked out of the group chats or whatever, um,
yeah.
but like when did you start feeling kind of like I don't think this I think this is a done deal. Like we're not going to be Utah's not going to be part of the next year at all.
Um, well, honestly, yeah, it would have been when we were in the PN during the PNC on tour.
Mm,
This probably halfway through, we were probably maybe in Denver, and there was a lot of like question marks. I was firing a fair few messages off to like the head coach Robbie and Seb Pearson, the assistant coach or the S&C coach, and there was just so many questions and marks. Like everyone's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna go on. Hopefully, yeah, we might be looking all right. No one knows. Nothing's in stone. And that was when I kind of like managed my expectations of like, yeah, okay, well, yeah, this might be no good. But funny enough, we actually then flew to Salt Lake. We played our final game in the PNC in Salt Lake. So we were actually all on our way to the gym to work out at the Utah headquarters. And that's when the main rumor came through that we were all going to be international.
Mm.
So that was like the worst
mm,
gym session ever because everyone was just so stressed and everyone was just kind of like, "Well, I guess we're out of jobs, boys." Like, there we go. So that they kind of went hand in hand for me. And that's
yeah,
when that's when I felt like I had the pit in my stomach of like, yeah, I'm not coming back to the league. Like, unless unless a team needs an international loose head, and it's not going to be the Warriors because they had Aki the year prior. So
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
I
feel
hope
like we
that
got a
answers your
segue there,
question.
right? We got a segue there, right? I feel like, I mean, Emerson, I think you're the first Canadian guy that we've talked to since that
Hmm.
news came out, where they'd be dropping, basically looking at Canadians as international. Like, we obviously know how it's impacted you. You've talked about how other guys are feeling about it, but like, what are your thoughts? Do you see the rationale behind it, or do you see it as unfair or unjust for Canadian rugby players?
Man, super, super unfair. However, I guess life's not fair. I understand the principle of what USA Rugby is trying to do. They want
Yeah,
more USA Rugby eligible players playing for USA. I don't know if it solves their problem. I think a better Canada is a better USA. Like I
Mm.
think there's ability for us to grow together. I think like it was harsh to get like to change it so quick. Like I think maybe they could have done another rule. Like there's 60, 50 guys in the MLR that were Canadian. I think you can
yeah,
find a way around it. Every team gets 4 Canadian spots or 3 Canadian spots that aren't that are separate to the international and domestic. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think it was pretty standard of America, just like, we don't like our competition, so we're just gonna get rid of them altogether. Um, but yeah. That's classic.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, yeah.
it's been
Go ahead.
interesting because I think that's what the argument, or I guess the discussion, has been around, right? Like, Maddie and I find ourselves in kind of an interesting space where obviously we're consuming a lot of, American rugby content and American rugby kind of perspectives down here stateside, but also being so connected to obviously people that we've been associated with in the past. Who have gone through the Rugby Canada program and have obviously those Canadian ties. You hear that perspective as well. And to your point, Emerson, I think I can see the perspective of what US is trying to do. But again, I think you can't really take out the emotion side of it with, like Canadian players have been a foundational core, I feel, of the MLR for a long time, right? And I guess they ripped the Band-Aid off. And I don't think something like this happens, or maybe I shouldn't say it doesn't happen, but like, let's say there is a Canadian team in MLR, right? Like whether or not they like switch the rules where domestic players are considered Canadian for, that Canadian team and vice versa. I don't know how you police that because you're then going to kind of switch up kind of, foreign rules across varying teams. But the fact that there isn't a Canadian team, right, I think it lends them to maybe do this, and it feels like maybe this is becoming a more U.S. centric league, kind of moving forward. And if that's what it is, whether I mean all the telltale signs, right? You got Anthem, right, and all the obviously the investment that's going behind that, the recent move with the international now player spots and things like that. Like it's abundantly clear that USA Rugby wants to use the MLR as a development tool to do that. And I guess we'll see whether or not that makes a difference. We'll find out after this. But again, it's kind of a caught between a rock and a hard place because I can understand your perspective, right, about being a Canadian guy. And obviously we're going to have our bias skewed in that sense. But at the same time, it is. But I will say, be on the record, like I'm in agreement with you, Emerson. I think a stronger Canada is a stronger USA. Like I think you guys feed on each other. Like when it comes to international play, like beating each other up, I don't think really goes, far in terms of the actual competition you want to be competing with, right? Like you shouldn't be so focused that you're making Canada better when you have teams that you should probably be focusing on that are overseas that you want to be competing against. And if you have a stronger product here, it's going to help that. But who knows? Again, it's a touchy subject right now.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
But I think hearing that perspective from a player that is in it, I think is helpful for a lot of people to understand that this is a decision that was made that does have real effect on people's livelihood, right? Like it's one thing to just kind of read it. Like I think that's what a lot of our listeners should understand, that like, and this is partly why we want to have this discussion about the Utah Wars. Like it's one thing to just see an announcement, right, of a team being like, oh, we're folding, or MLR being like, oh, Canadians are now international players. And then it's another thing to actually talk with players like yourself, Emerson, who are on the boots on the ground that are affected by this, and now we're kind of doing that. So that's the perspective we're trying to provide, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, and I think like I didn't. So when it was really announced, I didn't really recognize just how impactful it would be. But then you see guys like yourself, Emerson, like Cole Keith, like I mean even Jack Reeves, who is Canadian eligible, but like is premiership caliber talent, is now leaving these teams, leaving New England Free Jacks, leaving Utah, even if they weren't going to fold. Like, and then you end up with backfill with worse US rugby players. So now it's a worse product on the field. You're missing a lot of these high talent Canadian rugby players that would otherwise have those spots. Yeah, Emerson, I mean, I'm with you, man. I think it seems like they did you dirty. They did Canada rugby dirty.
Yeah, and like I said, like I understand USA Rugby being like, we're gonna look after ourselves now, and we're done with this. But I just think there's different ways they could have gone about it. I think, obviously I wish there was, because then I'd hopefully still have a job. But yeah, obviously that's me sitting in the hot seat, like.
And obviously this is all speculation, but like, how much do you think the results of the past summer played into maybe speeding up that process?
You guys did too good.
What's that? Yeah. Like us beating Canada to qualify early. Honestly, I don't know. I'd imagine that probably had something to do with it. Yeah.
Dude, Emerson, you know what I was telling Ryan? I said, remember the glory days with like DTH, James Pritchard, like that squad.
Yeah.
They didn't have a professional side. They
Yeah.
were just playing for old castaways.
Yeah. That's what
And
some of the boys were saying the other
and
day.
I was saying that BC Premier League is about to get stacked.
Bro, absolutely. I was actually talking with Matt Tierney, who came on tour out of the woodwork, and he was saying that he's like,
Oh my
man, back in the day, guys were like working at like at factories and stuff, and coming to
dude.
training. Like maybe that's what we need, like a bit of just good old fashioned back on the tools, and yeah.
Yeah,
So
man. You just show up and you're
yeah,
facing like Jamie McKenzie in a BC Premier League
yeah,
after crushing beers the night before.
yeah. You're
It's
like,
like, what are
Um,
we doing here? But
yeah,
hey, the BC Premier League's coming back strong, I think,
there you
now.
go. There you
yeah. It
go.
might
Either
be, man.
way, I think time will tell on the long-term effects of this, right? On both sides, right?
Yeah,
On both Rugby Canada and on USA Rugby and as a whole and where the foundation of our show is built on the MLR itself. So again, there's a lot of moving dynamics, a lot of moving parts, the Canada international thing being one of them, obviously the other one being the departure and withdrawal of teams, which Emerson, you find yourself in the thick of in both sides of it. So it'll be C, right, Matt? You say, dilution of talent, but then now you're down to 6 teams. So like it's like, is it dilution now when you only have 6 teams? So it's like,
True.
you know what I mean? Like there's pulling strings in multiple directions. But I think what I'm getting most out of Emerson, kind of spinning the conversation back to MLR, and we'll get back to Rugby Canada and talk about some of the results, but there is this saying that no news is good news. And from all the interviews that we've had on this show and the players that we've brought on, it does seem like for the MLR that might be the opposite. Where if you're not hearing anything, that might not be a great sign, because typically you'll be first to know when new investors are in or if the future is bright. But once we hear kind of like 0 dark 30 and everything goes silent, that's where we start to get maybe a little bit nervous, and that's where the speculation festers and things like that, and that's where the chatter of the Warriors talk kind of came through. I'll kind of spin it to this sense. How much harder was it going through, I guess, this process and seeing all that, being on a team where, to be on Miami or Dallas or one of these newcomers, right? That's one thing. But to be a founding member of this league, where you feel like you kind of alluded to earlier, where it's like, oh, the league can't touch us. We're going to be good. Like, we'll be fine. But then you top that with just how well you guys are playing. And it felt like Utah was on the up and to the right. And you guys were starting something brand new. There was concern heading into the 25-year. This mass exodus of players left and right leaving. You bring in some new guys, and you guys have an incredible season, top of the Western Conference, obviously falling a little bit short in the playoffs, but nonetheless, just I think a really fun season to remember for you. How did that play into it? That you got all this news and you feel like, is there unfinished business? Like, do you feel like there was just such a bright future that now you're never going to see come to fruition? What's that feel like?
yeah, yeah. 100%, man. So when I set out, kind of planning what I want my rugby career to look like is I want to find my professional ceiling and play as much professional rugby as possible, and I want to play at the international stage and at a World Cup. So obviously the World Cup is still there, but yeah, having the professional stuff kind of be taken away, it was like so gutting. And I think it built so well from when I started. When I was originally drafted in 2022, we had a crazy first year. I think might have talked about it the last time. Like, head coach fired halfway through the season,
Yep.
15 guy turnover the next season, then again, then again. And this past year, man, boys were clicking. Like, we had such good chemistry, fantastic group of players. We Our coaching staff was on fire. We were gonna our head coach Greg Cooper was heading up to Japan, and then the other three guys were gonna take over full on. And like, it was promising. We have the brand new HQ that they built, which was like awesome, like just so good for the boys to have a space that's world class, and we can pretty much spend the whole day there, have lunch, coffee, connections, lift, meetings, all the rest of it. So yeah, definitely such a dagger, man, because like you said, if you're on one of those teams like a Miami that's in the league for 2, 3 years, I mean, you just have a little bit less tie to it, whereas Utah was just seemed like such a foundational team and was also building something. Yeah, we definitely slipped up in the playoffs this past year, but yeah, there was our like literally after the season where like all of us could say like we're having beers with the boys after the season, and everyone's like, next year, man, next year will be great. But so yeah, I mean, it puts life into perspective though. Like you just got to be grateful for what you have while you have it, man. And yeah, like that's I think the general consensus of the boys. Like just I don't know if you guys know, you must know Tyler Wong, who's one of the
Mm.
ultimate BC rugby players, and just the best team guy ever. And I remember talking to him about it straight away when everything went south, and he's like, "Yeah, man, what a year we had though, and like that we'll have that forever." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so, right?" So you kind of have
It's
to
good perspective.
take
It's good
everything with a bit
perspective.
of grain of salt, bit of perspective. No
We
one's on
mentioned it
fire.
quickly in the news segment. How weird is it going to see Joel Hodgson in a Free Jacks jersey?
Oh, I'm delighted for Jolie. He is something else. Yeah, to be honest, man, I think there was rumblings that he wasn't going to come back to Utah. And then once the domestic rules changed, he then became the most valuable player in the world because he was domestic and he's Joel Hodgson. So it'd be awesome to see a man tear it up for the Free Jacks, and he's yeah, it'd be class for them
Wait,
to have
he's
him.
U.S. eligible?
Yeah, so I guess that's the word. Because he's been in America for the past four some odd years. And
He
that's what
can't build
the
a 10, so they might as well buy one.
I guess, right? I guess. So yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. So I
crazy.
think he's
That's funny.
domestic. I could be misspeaking, but no, it'd be good for him. That was
That's
awesome.
funny. Um,
A new
I
father as well,
guess.
so that's exciting.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Your opinions. We'll ask kind of what's your next, but you look at kind of the MLR as you kind of weigh your options in the future here. Um, what are your thoughts on this league? Like we understand as fans, right? And I think we try to take a step back, or at least I try to take a step back on this show, to not get caught up in some of the emotion that maybe sometimes fans feel where if it's bad, the place is burning down, right? Or if it's good, it's like this is the best thing ever. And I think with a brand new or relatively brand new, I should say, sports league in a very niche sport in a very competitive sports landscape where you're competing with the footballs, the basketballs, the baseballs, and even to the hockeys to an extent. That I mean, when you look at every league that is brand new, right? You could look at the MLS way back in the day. You can look at the PWHL now and what they're going through with women's hockey about this kind of expansion and growth and just these fluctuations, right? But you could argue at the lowest point with MLR right now, right? 6 teams, the lowest that it's ever been,
Yeah.
and the league keeps on telling us, don't worry, we have a 2026 and we're going to have that and beyond. As a player who has played in the MLR, what is your outlook and what do you think this league stands in the future? And when if you look at 5, 10 years down the line, is the MLR still around?
Yeah, who knows, man? It's hard not to be skeptical, right? Especially with all the rule changes. Like I do think kind of what Matt alluded to, like the quality will obviously go down. You're just having less international players, and you're having all the Canadian guys that were starting or in the game day 23. So you have this mass influx of all these domestic players who eventually have good potential, but they've just come out of college or wherever they came from. So the quality will be worse over the next couple of years, and I don't know how that'll affect like fans and viewership or whatever. Yeah, I don't really have an answer for you. I
Is it
assume.
I'll
Sorry, go
add
ahead.
this. Is it the World Cup that is keeping the MLR afloat right now?
Yeah, that's what I assume because of 2031, like World Rugby won't let the MLR die because you need this league to kind of help build into the World Cup. So then after the World Cup, hopefully guys that are retiring from other nations and whatever want to come down and play, their final 2 or 3 seasons in America. So yeah, I mean, for that case, yeah, hopefully it can for the case of the MLR and the players in it, like hopefully it can stick around till then and then can kind of build back up. But in terms of, I mean, I don't know anything about the numbers or whatever, but in terms of then, I can't see them making any money until then. So that's why I'm like a little skeptical, but I'm not really the guy to be able to make the assumptions.
No, I know it's a tough question because I
Yeah,
think there are people on both sides. There's optimists. They're like, oh, we'll make it through this. And then there's a whole bunch of people who are pessimistic about the situation, and it's not looking good. So, yeah, only time will tell. But
Yeah, for the
I
sake
do
of North
understand.
American rugby, I hope
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it sticks around, and then it can keep building, and then maybe Canada can start their own thing, and we can try, and maybe it opens back up. We go cross border, but who knows? But yeah, yeah, I would hate if it imploded. Then what else? What's next? You know,
yeah.
someone will have to try and start something back up. But
You want to start a team with us, Emerson? You want to
yeah,
go
yeah,
team?
we
Mm.
can go
We
in,
got.
man. Yeah,
We
let's
can
do it.
rack in some, what, few million,
Yeah,
few
I'll have to pick up a couple
bajillion.
I was gonna say
overnight nursing shifts.
we
Yeah.
just get people we've interviewed for to volunteer.
Yeah,
There,
between me
well,
and
there,
Botch, we'll be able to
yeah.
rub some pennies together.
Yeah, all right. So we definitely got a pretty solid front row
Yeah,
that we can get in. We gotta start
All right,
that.
so we're playing sevens. All right,
yeah,
sounds good. We're playing 7 against 15.
Yeah, there you go. Um,
Copy.
well, let's again. I think most of this is just the pride perspective in the whole situation, and I think it's really helpful, Emerson, on as a player, kind of getting that. But let's talk about maybe some brighter things here. Let's talk about Rugby Canada and what
Well,
you guys have been able to do. We kind of alluded to it. Obviously, qualifying for the 2027 World Cup was a major thing for Rugby Canada. Obviously, USA will be joining you. They had to take a little bit of a longer route, but our your rivals will be there. Come back from a November test series, a little bit tougher matchup with some teams here. But I guess your thoughts right now on the state of Rugby Canada from where it's been, where I think a lot of people were pretty concerned on the state of Rugby Canada, to I think a lot of optimism to how Rugby Canada is looking, despite maybe some November tests that were a little bit tough for you guys.
yeah. I think getting that win over the States in August or whenever it was to pretty much solidify our qualification was a massive maybe step forward, and just getting a bit of belief from the community of rugby in Canada. I think the guys that have been there, I'm new into the squad. I've always kind of been around it, but new recently kept as of this year. But I think the guys in the program believe for sure and have. But I think just getting that win and getting the qualification was so massive, and just helped us kind of keep seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and keep believing in what we're about. I think, yeah, over the past couple games, whether it was the end of PNC or the November tour, man, like we have a special group. There are some unbelievably talented players we have, and we've got good cohesion. We've got good guys that want to work hard, and they want to work hard for each other. Um, New coaching staff bringing in bright lights. Like, I think things are in the right spots. I think we just need more time. And yeah, I see the vision, man, and I hope to continue to be a part of it. But uh, yeah, the results didn't quite go our way. I think the Romania game, yeah, could have got a dub there. Portugal definitely could have got a dub. And the way we played against Georgia, like, you know, the scoreline wasn't too bad for a top 11 team.
yeah.
That was like very physical, very good. So it just goes to show, like, man, yeah, when we do our stuff and we do what we say we're going to do, we can put together performances. I genuinely just think we need more experience winning. We need to keep um, just not letting those tiny little details slip. And we'll be sweet. So exciting year for me personally in terms of the rugby stuff, but then also just for the rugby team in general. Very exciting year for the women's stuff. But in terms of us, like, yeah, we're building. I think things are getting brighter, so it's awesome.
Yeah, and from for rugby Canada, I mean, I've correct me if I'm wrong, but I've noticed some familiar names coming back. Like you mentioned, Matt Tierney. Like I haven't seen his name on a list. I feel like for a while.
Yeah,
And Arjon comes back for that U.S. test, for that big test, and obviously puts on a clinic. And then you also have a lot of young guys coming through the system. Like you're seeing a lot of new names, a lot of young names that are coming through. How awesome has that been in the system? Like having the guys who have experienced winning in the red jersey, but
yeah,
also having the new guys who really all they really know is a Rugby Canada that has disappointed for a while now.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, it's a very cool experience to have guys like Olmstead, Archon come back. Having Matt Tierney come back is massive. and then you've got the young fellas coming in, right? Like your Morgan Donardos coming in, scoring on debut, like, and I think you're right. Those guys have watched Rugby Canada not succeed over the past, however many years, and I think they're coming in with such a mindset that they're like, yeah, we're ready to be to take part into the next step of building. So that's a pretty awesome attitude that a lot of the young guys have. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of like ego in it either. Like it just seems like the young guys are ready to learn from the older guys that have been through it, like the Rumbles and the Olmsteads and Arjons and stuff, and then they can lead the way while the younger, fresher faces just add in, man. So it's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, love that.
Yeah.
All right. Emerson, not too much more of your time here, but I got a couple quick hitters for you. All
Yeah, hit
right.
me.
That you gotta just say the first thing that comes to your head. The first question from me is your favorite part of playing in Utah. What was the thing that you loved about being a Warrior?
Um, Man, just developing the connections that I developed with the players, like made mates for life, um, with just such good dudes. Learned so much. I think those two things made some awesome friends that I have for life, and learned so much. Like where I was in 2022, coming out, just playing from Trent University to the Pacific Pride to learning off some unbelievable props and other players. Like man, I can't. Yeah, can't take that for granted. That was awesome.
Where does playing in front of those mountains in Utah rank in terms of venues and different pitches that you played in your career?
Yeah. Oh, had to be the most scenic. The field itself, not great. But the stadium, like intimate stadium, seats maybe 4,500, 5,000 people. We'd get 4,000 to 4,500 people out to some of our bigger games, and like, yeah, that's tough to beat, man. Like you really feel the crowd. They're literally meters away from you, and they're just ram packed in. All majority of them like Utah locals that just love rugby and want to watch the Warriors succeed. So yeah, that have to be up there. Got to fortunately play in some really cool spots this year. But in terms of the feel that you get playing at Utah, yeah, you won't find it anywhere else.
All right,
Unfortunately.
loaded question. But where does Warriors Nation, the fans, rank among all? I'll put it in all of history. You take any team's fans that we've had in the MLR over the course of the teams that have come in and out. Where are you putting the Warriors fans? I know the answer, but I have to ask
It has to
because
be number one, man. Like it just has to be. Like there, I don't know what other teams fan bases are like, but we have this like what's called the Warriors Ohana, which is like the main sort of fan base group. There's maybe 50 of them or something, and they would throw like meals for us several times a year. And I was part of the social like entertainment sort of committee, and
Of course.
I dealt with them and trying to plan. But man, they just always wanted to be around. They wanted to. They put on so much crazy food for us and have us and just wanted to interact with us and yeah. And then out of those, there's like that small group of fans, but then yeah, all the rest of them too. Just like they always came abrasive to the away team, and they came loud and ready to rock, man. They were awesome.
and if it doesn't, I guess, reflect that connection that you guys had. I mean, Utah's outgoing, I guess, gesture was that what $100,000 donation, right, to the local kind of Utah Warriors stuff. I mean, that's pretty awesome to see, man. I know,
Yeah,
not the things that not on the terms I should say that you wanted to see it on, but if that doesn't reflect kind of what the community meant to Utah, I don't really know what does.
yeah, 100%. That was awesome to see, man.
Message you have for Utah Warriors fans, not just Vandy, who will probably record this and keep this on his phone, but
Yeah,
all Warriors fans that are kind of left a little bit wanting here, knowing that they'll either have to cheer for another team next season or maybe play a little fantasy MLR to find some new favorite players.
yeah. I'd say sign up for the fantasy Ruckers for sure. But I'd also say like just thank you for all that you guys did for us and all that you gave us, and yeah, I hope that they can learn the same lesson in life that we all learned going through it. Just like a bit of perspective, a bit of gratitude. Just enjoy stuff while you have it, and don't take it for granted.
Oh yeah, Merce, inspiring the world, man.
There you go, buddy.
Inspiring the world.
Inspiring the world.
Well, hey, appreciate the time, Emerson. Again, I can't say it enough. The perspective is greatly appreciated by us, all of our listeners, and stuff like that. Just to get a little bit insight of what it's like to be an MLR player. at a time where, it's a little bit challenging right now, but I'm sure we'll try to take that optimistic approach and hopefully for many to come. What's next for you, man? Anything on the horizon that people need to know about?
Nothing crazy at the moment, man. I'm still trying to figure that out. I think hopefully pick something up overseas. I mean, a lot of leagues are going on at the moment, so pretty tough. Whether it be like a medical joker gig or something, but if not, might be back out to the island for a bit of nursing and training at the COE and playing some West Shore up the shore, and then yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that might be it, man. And then hopefully, just honestly, anything I can do to stay in contention and stay ripping into that. Hopefully, July camp
I'll
come.
give you first. I'll give you first to pick any other club.
No way, man. No way. Sure is
Well, we'll
awesome.
let you know. We'll let you know if the Fantasy Rockers ever get the funds to create our own team to put in this league, and you'll be the first one of the first for us to call, man. But hey, best of luck. We'll
Yeah.
have you on again, definitely sometime soon. And if you have any other big announcements, you know where you'll be able to find the people here. We'll always love to have you on, man. Friend of the show as always.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, fellas. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Emerson.
Cheers.
And thank you to Emerson for joining the show. Always fun to bring on players. I know I said it multiple times during the interview, and I say it every time when we bring a player on, but to get that unique perspective of the life of an MLR player, especially in this day and age, is always an interesting one because may not be all flowers and rainbows, obviously, when we talk about the experience that is being a professional rugby player in North America. But again, Emerson, appreciate the insight. We will definitely have him on again sometime soon. Maddie, your biggest takeaways from your buddy from up north?
Man, I mean, one, I didn't realize the roller coaster that he was on in terms of, just how big finding out with the whole rumors about Canadians becoming international talents or international slots. So yeah, it was just, and I didn't realize just the roller coaster that Utah was on in terms of what funding they had and their uncertainty within the league. So it was interesting to hear that. It was interesting to hear his thoughts on the whole. I think in the interview, like I said, like he's the first Canadian guy that we've had on since that came out. So it was interesting to get his take. But I mean, look, that guy's an absolute monster. He'll find his way, whether it's an MLR and BC Premier League, he'll be just fine.
Yeah. So interesting. Again, for me, just what stands out is, again, I mentioned it in the interview, but like this whole notion of not hearing a peep from the league or from teams usually gets concerning, which is why, Maddie, you probably alluded to it at the beginning where we have not heard that much from California Legion, which makes you worry even more. And I don't know if that's a sense of PTSD where that's basically been the formula to what has led to every single one of the teams that we have lost through the course of this offseason. That's been kind of what the framework has been, and just how fast things move. And to your point, Maddie, just the roller coaster of like these players like finding out one thing, being told one thing, and then literally the complete opposite happening. And then you pile that on about the different experiences, right? Like we've brought on, Seth Smith, Emerson, both guys that have been with the same team during their duration of the league and the experience they have. And then Emerson brings up a guy like Nick Ben, who's been on a brand new team every single year because they've all folded. I mean, just talk about the experience from within, the diversity of experience from player to player when it comes to this league, just because of everything that's going on. So again, a crazy time we find ourselves in. This league is obviously going through its growing pains. We will, again, I think something that I've said through many interviews, including this one, that time will tell about the future of this league, and we'll see here. As far as we know right now, 2026 is a go, and we're green lit, and we're gonna enjoy it as best we can. Fantasy MLR is not going anywhere. There could be one team in this league. I don't know how that would work, but we would definitely have a fantasy MLR league, so that will be something that you can have our word on, because we know communication is key here on the Fantasy Ruckers show. So either way, again, thank you to Emerson. A lot of insight there, and I hope you guys all enjoyed the interview as much as we do. Again, check out all the past interviews that we've had with players who have been affected by the withdrawals of all the teams that we've had this offseason so far. You can find that on our YouTube page as well. But Maddie, any final words, final thoughts you have for the people as we bid them farewell for the next couple weeks?
Oh, just look out. December is a time where big signings are made. So expect some big signings before the end of the year, I think.
Yeah, no shortage of them, obviously, with how quickly we had to run through it here in our news dump. But nonetheless, I'm sure there will be even more when we come back here in a couple weeks' time for episode 174. All right, for Matt E., I am Ryan E. For Devin Vandy Vanderpool, who hopefully be back after his kid scores multiple hat tricks during the time between now and the next episode. We'll see you next time, another episode of the Fantasy Ruckers Show.
Utah.
You've been listening to the Fantasy Ruckers Show, bringing fantasy rugby to the masses, covering everything rugby from the MLR and beyond. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and be sure to tell all your friends. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, connect with us on social media at the Fantasy Ruckers. Till next time, this is the Fantasy Ruckers Show, signing off.